Do you think Purdy will be considered elite if he gets a Super Bowl win?
No. No, he's not going to be considered an elite quarterback. He'll be a really, really good quarterback, and I think it ends the debate on whether or not he's a top 10 player at the position. But I struggle with calling him an elite quarterback just because of what I've seen the last couple of weeks in the playoffs. And I know everybody wants to jump out of the window because of the comeback wins against the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. But Brock Purdy was a big part on why his team had to come back. And I can't ignore the fact that this is a guy that has 6 all-pro players around him just on the offensive side of the ball. D. Wood, it ain't but 11 players on that side of the ball. He's got 6 all-pro players. Juszczyk, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams, George Kittle, and then Deebo Samuel. He hasn't made all-pro this year, but he's been on all-pro teams in the past. I mean, overall, this is a really talented team. 7 all-pro players just in this year. I think Brock Purdy is a fine quarterback, but just winning a Super Bowl does not make him an elite quarterback. Similar to why Nick Foles is not considered an elite quarterback, even though he beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl back in 2017.
I couldn't disagree more with what Chris Canty just said. I've always said, like, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it is a duck. Okay, when we're talking about Brock Purdy and the numbers that he's been putting up since being the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, he has been mentioned along the same lines of Joe Montana. Joe Montana. Those are the type of numbers he is being putting up with the San Francisco 49ers. And listen, I think the thing that I get upset about when we talk about Brock Purdy is the fact that we hold against him that the San Francisco 49ers are a very competent organization where they've made moves. We can't hold that against him. Okay, we can't hold the fact that they have all of these, these all-pro talented guys. It's about what you go out there and do, how you execute in the moment of truth. Okay, how did Lamar react in the moment of truth? How did Dak Prescott react in the moment of truth? We can go down the list of quarterbacks when the moment of truth came, they didn't perform well. Okay, Brock Purdy has. Now listen, in the divisional round, Brock Purdy didn't play well outside of one drive. What drive was that, Chris?
The last drive.
The last drive in the moment of truth. Okay, in the second half against the Detroit Lions in the NFC Championship game, who put on the show? Who was the one that was making plays in that game? Brock Purdy, okay? And so for me, if Brock Purdy comes out here and beats Patrick Mahomes, who I've already said, Patrick Mahomes is in his Jordan era. This is the era that he's in. Everyone is chasing Patrick Mahomes. If he's able to go out there and play that type of game where he beats Patrick Mahomes head-to-head, come on, man. Like, we gotta stop disrespecting that man and give that man the props that he so deservingly earned this season.
Well, see, here's the thing, CC. I get where you're coming from, and you're not wrong in terms of what you break down, but the bottom line is you're going by that eye test. That's what you're going by. Or because you know what you're looking at, you know what you see or whatever. In your case, Woody, you going by the eye test, but you also going by facts, statistics, and you saying this is what it is. So sometimes pick your poison, because a lot of times we see cats leaning on numbers and we saying, look, we watching the damn game now. We saw how it happened. What the hell are you talking about? This stuff that y'all missing here that we saw with our own 2 eyes, and vice versa when it comes to stats. Here's what you need to know. 1989, Joe Montana, a 112.4 passer rating, won the Super Bowl. Steve Young, 1994, a 112.8 passer rating, won the Super Bowl that season. The single season highest passer rating in 49ers history was this year by Brock Purdy, who's at 113. And he's in the Super Bowl and got a chance to win a Super Bowl championship. We can't ignore that. We look at his rankings in terms of record as a starter, 17-4 overall, second only to Lamar Jackson. Completion percentage, second only to Kirk Cousins in the NFL. TD passes, second only to NFL to Dak Prescott. Pass yards, fourth in the NFL. Passer rating, number 1. So when I look at all of that, when I look at Brock Purdy, I don't think I see elite. But if he goes out on the field and he beats Patrick Mahomes, and I'm not talking about San Francisco being beat.
Okay, well,
I'm talking about Brock Purdy on the football field.
Okay.
And he's balling. Let's say, for example, he does what Jalen Hurts did last year in the Super Bowl, except they win and Kansas City loses. We got to look at him differently.
I don't know if
we gotta look
I
at it
don't know if we gotta look at him differently, Stephen
Okay.
A. Because of what is asked of Brock Purdy. Because they have such a talented team, they're not asking Brock Purdy to go out there and win the game every single time. They're just going out there and asking him not to lose the game.
No, but what I'm saying to you is, regardless of what they're asking him,
Sure.
if we see him go out on the field and he does more than we ever anticipated him doing, if you see Brock Purdy go out there looking like Joe Montana, Steve Young, or Dan Marino in the Super Bowl a week from Sunday, I'm saying if you see that, CC, that's a different animal.
Well, yeah. If
you saw that.
if I see Brock Purdy winning the Super Bowl in a week from now, then that's going to change the way I view him. There's no doubt about it. But I don't know if I'm going to go to the category of elite. And we keep talking about the eye test here. You know, let me tell you what my eyes saw. In 8 quarters of playoff football this year, Brock Purdy was outplayed by the opposing quarterback in 5 of them. 5 of them. Brock Purdy this year, bottom 7 when it comes to turnover-worthy play percentage.
Who are the 5 quarterbacks that outplayed?
Bottom 7. What are you talking about?
Who is the 5 quarterbacks that outplayed?
I said Jordan Love and Jared Goff.
Okay.
In 5 of the 8 quarters, they outplayed Brock Purdy.
Okay.
So and you look at
But when it counted most, who ended up playing the best ball?
When it counted most.
When it counted most.
Brock Purdy had the ball in his hands and he did what he was supposed to do.
Right,
I'm not arguing that, but what I am saying is this. With Brock Purdy and the supporting cast around him, they elevate him to a level that he wouldn't be otherwise just based on his talent versus the other way around with a lot of the quarterbacks that are mentioned in this conversation. Okay. We talk about elite. We're talking about Josh Allen. We're talking about Lamar Jackson. We're talking about Joe Burrow. We're talking about Patrick Mahomes. Those guys are the unquestioned catalyst for what those teams do. I don't look at the San Francisco 49ers offense. I don't look at their team and say Brock Purdy is the catalyst. I think Brock Purdy is the trailer and the rest of the supporting cast is the tractor that's dragging the team along.
Yak yardage, percentage yak yardage, because a lot of people think, oh, Brock Purdy just kind of throws short, and then like guys like Debo.
Yeah.
Mahomes has more of that than Brock Purdy.
So that means
okay, hold on, let me finish. Hold on, let me finish. Percentage of attempts behind the line of scrimmage. Mahomes beats Brock Purdy. Average depth per target. Brock Purdy beats Patrick Mahomes. Tighter window throws. Brock Purdy beats Patrick Mahomes. I'm not sitting here questioning who's better because clearly Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the last National Football League. But I think the narrative that surrounds Brock Purdy as it relates to, well, this, he just dumps it off and all these guys just making all these yards after catch. The stats don't bear that out. Brock Purdy is making things happen as a quarterback, as a playmaker.
Big fella, I'm not going to let you stat me down like that and conflate this thing. Hold on.
Women lie, numbers don't lie.
Giselle Bundchen said it about Tom Brady. The quarterback can't throw it and catch it. Kansas City had led the league in drops from the receiver position. They led the league. So, of course, Pat Mahomes ain't going to have better statistics when it comes to tight window throws and all of those types of things because they don't trust the receivers to catch those passes. So there's that. Now, as far as how we view Brock Purdy, I don't view him through the lens of, oh, he's Mr. Irrelevant versus being a first-round pick. I view him through the lens of, I seen Kyle Shanahan with a similar core of players get to the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo and have a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. Hold on, let me finish.
We can't sit here and put Brock Purdy and Jimmy Garoppolo in the same
But it happened, and 10 players on that Niners team in 2019 are still on this Niners team. A similar core of players, and they got to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So do what Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't do what Lamar Jackson couldn't do what Josh Allen couldn't do, what Tua couldn't do this year, and that's win the game against Mahomes in the playoffs.
I'm going to repeat to you again what Stephen A. just said. Stephen A., who has the best quarterback rating in the history of the San Francisco 49ers?
That's Brock Purdy. Ahead of Montana and Steve Young.
2 Hall of Famers.
Yeah, but context matters.
And
what's around you matters.
They also won the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah. So
the year they had that passer rating.
Right.
So context matters. What's around you matters.
But it doesn't matter. You still got to go out there and execute. Oh, I mean,
the conversation is the elite. It's not good.
But according to your premise, anyone can go out there and do things. In Kyle Shanahan's offense.
See, big fella. Here's the thing. I think we go to extremes in the conversation with Brock Purdy, and the truth is probably somewhere in the middle.
I've been holding back on Brock Purdy, but I'm just saying, under the premise of what we're talking about, We got to give the man his flowers. That's all I'm saying.
I never said he doesn't deserve his flowers. I'm just not going to call him elite. I'm not going to say he's with Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Pat Mahomes. He's not.
All right.
Because you're looking at it from the premise of those guys' talent. I'm talking about what is he doing on the field?
I'm saying what they're asking him to do relative to what's around him versus those other guys and what they're asked to do.